I'm all right.
Everybody ready?
Sure.
Ready? All right, good evening, everyone. We are here this evening to conduct a vicious dog hearing. I will read the notice. Special meeting notice, Bennington Select Board, Monday, July 21st, 2025. Bennington Fire Facility, multi-purpose room, 3rd floor, 130 River Street, Bennington, Vermont, 05201. Agenda, 6 p.m., public hearing on a vicious dog hearing, Ms. Tiffany Rounds. My name is Tom Haley. I have the honor of chairing this board. I will ask my other fellow board members to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nancy White.
Jim Sullivan. Jackie Matz.
Yes, good evening. I am Clark Adams.
I'm Ed Woods.
Also with us, Dan Monks, Assistant Town Manager, Nancy Lively, who is taking minutes, and I thought I saw Jonah, but
There he is.
Jonah Spivak, who will be monitoring anything audiovisual that we need to handle tonight. A vicious pet hearing is a quasi-judicial hearing. It must be conducted in accordance with Town of Bennington Ordinance Article 9, care and control of animals, and applicable state and federal laws regarding due process, etc. On July 3rd, 2025, we received a request from our animal control officer, Kimberly Krozik, to call the vicious dog hearing regarding Tiffany Round's dog, Marvin, as a result of an unprovoked dog bite incident on Water Street in North Bennington. The way this hearing will work tonight is we will first hear from the complainant. The complainant will present evidence in support of the complaint. Any witnesses from the complainant will present evidence. Then we will present questions directed to the complainant and the complainant's witnesses by the board. The pet owner will then present evidence in opposition to the complaint. Any witnesses the pet owner wishes to call will be allowed to present evidence, at which point the board and the pet owner's witnesses, the board will question the pet owner and witnesses. At that point, the complainant and the complainant's witnesses, cross-examination of complainant and complainant's witnesses by pet owner through the board. I'll remind everyone that all questions should be directed to me. This can be an emotional situation, so you're not questioning any witnesses individually. Questions are to be directed to me, and then I will ask the witness. Then cross-examination of pet owner and pet owner's witnesses by the complainant through the board. Then any rebuttal or final words from both parties, at which point the hearing will be adjourned and the board will deliberate and make a decision. So the first order of business here is that anyone that expects to speak this evening, I'm going to ask you to stand and raise your right hand and swear an oath to tell us the truth. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the Select Board at the Select Board's vicious pet hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Say, I do. I do. If anyone else wishes to speak at any point, we will ask you to swear that oath. So first, I will invite the complainant, Officer Krozik.
name is Kimberly Krosik. I'm the Animal Control Officer for the town of Bennington. I started this position in July of 2019. I've received training at the Vermont Police Academy for Animal Investigation 1 and Animal Investigation 2. I've also received animal control training through the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I'm here to provide you with information regarding Tiffany Round's dog, Marvin. Marvin is a 5-year-old Cane Corso Terrier mix. Marvin is intact, which means he has not been neutered. I have had at least 3 involvements with Marvin and Miss Rounds since July of 2022. The first incident I had pertaining with Miss Round's dog was on Wednesday, May 4th, 2022, which was a report of Round's dogs running loose when she resided on Dewey Streets. I met with Miss Rounds and advised her that she needed to keep her dogs from running loose and explained to her the Town of Bennington Care and Control of Animals Ordinance. I found that both of her dogs were not licensed and advised her she needed to license them with the town. During the time Miss Rounds resided on Dewey Street, she co-owned 2 dogs, Marvin and Piper, with her now ex-husband. The second loose dog report I received was on Friday, May 5th, 2023. There was a report of 2 dogs running loose around the Stark Street playground and were acting aggressively towards children and adults. The officer that took the initial report spoke with the complainants, who advised they were walking with their grandchildren and 2 gray and white pit bulls, came from a house on Dewey Street, and the dogs began to charge and bark at them. The officer then contacted Miss Rounds, who advised she was unaware that her dogs had gotten out. The dogs were inside when the officer contacted Miss Rounds. Miss Rounds also advised that the dogs knew how to open the door. The officer suggested a baby gate to keep the dogs inside. I also spoke with Miss Rounds and suggested keeping her doors locked and putting her dogs on leads when they're outside. The first bite incident was on May 1st, 2023. I received an email from a female that resided in the apartment next to Miss Rounds. The female reported that she and her son had been bitten by Miss Rounds' dogs. No bite report on file from any hospital, as the female and her son did not go to the hospital or their primary care doctor. The female advised her son was walking up the stairs to go into their apartment and a dog ran up behind him and bit him. The female advised the same thing happened to her. The female advised the male dog, Marvin, was the one that bit her son. The female provided a picture of her son's wound, which appeared to be a small scratch on the shin just above the sock line. No pictures of the female's bites were provided to me. The female was advised that both dogs are never on leashes and they attack the windows when she brings the dogs outside. This bite report was unconfirmed. However, I did speak with Ms. Rounds regarding quarantining both the dogs for 10 days. Both dogs were updated on rabies vaccinations, and Ms. Rounds was also provided with a copy of the Town of Bennington Care and Control of Animals Ordinance. The second bite was on Monday, May 31st, 2023. I received a 911 call of a female walking her dog at the Stark Street playground. Now, I was dispatching at the time of this incident. The female advised she was bit by 2 pit bulls on the arm. An officer responded to take the information as I was dispatching during this incident. In the officer's report, the officer met with the victim and took pictures of the victim's bite wound. The victim was bitten on her left wrist. The officer also reported that the dog, a beagle, was bitten on the left ear. The bite punctured the beagle's ear and went all the way through. The victim advised 2 pit bulls darted from a backyard at her and the 2 beagles she was walking. The victim advised one of the pit bulls took one of the beagles by the collar and ear and shook it. When the victim grabbed the beagle to get away, when the victim grabbed the beagle to get away from the pit bull, she was then bit. The victim was treated at SVMC and the beagle was treated at a veterinary hospital. Ms. Rounds was not home at the time of the incident as she was returning from vacation. The health officer Gallant mailed a quarantine letter to Ms. Rounds allowing the dogs to quarantine at home for 10 days. I spoke to Ms. Rounds in the lobby of the Bennington Police Department. Ms. Rounds advised she had been working on getting her dogs to classes and told me Marvin is already taking classes and she had an appointment to get him neutered. I suggested to Ms. Rounds that she muzzle dogs every time they were outside and work on securing a proper fence in the backyard. Ms. Rounds advised the dogs learned how to open the front door, and from now on, whenever she was not home, the dogs would be in crates inside the house. Ms. Rounds seemed concerned about the victim and the dog that was bitten. I sent Ms. Rounds a letter regarding our conversation I had with her in the lobby. The victim was advised that she could request a vicious dog hearing, and the victim never requested a hearing. I also have pictures of that bite incident that I did not include in the packet, but I do have those if you guys want to review those. The third bite was on July 2nd, 2025. I received notification from Officer Peckham of a dog bite that occurred on Water Street in North Bennington. Officer Peckham advised Ms. Rounds' dog Marvin, a 5-year-old Cane Corso Terrier mix, bit the neighbor in the back of her leg. The officer advised the victim, Alethea White, was being transported to SVMC and Marvin had a rabies vaccination. It's pet vet rabies tag number, which expires March 8th of 2026, and the officer was advised that this was the first bite incident. Immediately after receiving the information, I did check the Town of Bennington dog license website and found that Marvin was not licensed. I knew from prior incidents with Ms. Rounds that this was not the first bite with Marvin, so I contacted the health officer Gallant to advise her of the incident, as well as to confirm prior bite reports. I then requested officers return to Water Street to take Marvin into custody and bring to the animal control facility. Officers went to the residence, but neither Ms. Rounds nor her partner, Alan Watson, were there. Officers contacted Ms. Rounds, who advised she and Watson were at work. Officers scheduled a pickup of Marvin for 3:30 p.m. that day. Officer Peckham and I arrived at the residence around 4 p.m. and met with Watson. Watson was outside with Marvin sitting at a picnic table. Marvin had a soft shell muzzle on and was on a leash. Marvin growled and barked at myself and Officer Peckham. Watson followed the officer and I to the animal control facility. Watson placed Marvin in one of the outside portions of the kennel without incidents. I then had Watson call Ms. Rounds on the phone so I could explain what was going to happen. I advised Ms. Rounds that this was a significant dog bite and not the first bite from Marvin. I asked Ms. Rounds if she'd be willing to relinquish ownership of Marvin, to which she advised no. I then advised Ms. Rounds I would be applying for a vicious dog hearing, and Marvin would remain in my custody during the 10-day quarantine. I also advised Ms. Rounds that after the quarantine, I would continue to keep Marvin in my custody until the hearing. I provided all the paperwork to Watson to give to Ms. Rounds. I left a voicemail for Ms. White, advising her Marvin was secure at the animal control facility and that I'd be applying for a vicious dog hearing. That following morning, I received a notification from an officer about advising Marvin had broken the outside fencing, was running loose. By the time I arrived at the animal control facility, Marvin was back inside the building. Ms. Rounds and Mr. Watson were contacted to assist securing Marvin, but officers were able to get Marvin back in the facility as they were arriving. Officer Peckham and I secured the inside of the fencing with a pair of handcuffs and did not open the dog door that allowed Marvin access to the outside. At 6:30 p.m. that same day, Marvin had broken the interior fencing of the animal control facility and opened the interior door and ran out the building. By the time I arrived, Marvin was running around the exterior of the building. I was able to catch Marvin and leash him. Marvin was then taken to the Bennington Police Department and placed in a cell. Marvin remains at the Bennington Police Department in a cell. Marvin continues to be in the cell, and I have been in regular conversation with Ms. White regarding her medical treatment. And I do believe you have photographs of the kennel as well.
Does anyone wish to see the other photographs that she brought? I think we're okay.
We have some additional photographs as well.
Okay.
Okay, and do we have witnesses in support of the complainant? Questions come later, right?
Can I speak?
It's,
I'm the previous victim of the dog.
yeah, yep, you can come up. Yeah, anyone that wants to speak in support of the complainant.
Yeah, this is
I-
the Beagles?
I think some of us would like to see the, not like to, but wish to see the photographs. The photographs?
Okay. Pictures of the dog as well as the individual.
You can take this microphone over here.
Oh, over here? Okay. Hi, my name's Deborah, veteran. I'm the victim of the July 31st attack in the Stark Street Playground.
Could you just spell your last name for a minutes taker?
Yes, veteran, F-E-D-E-R-H-E-N.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. I walk a pair of beagles that belong to Paul. I've been walking them 5 days a week for several years, and we used to walk in Star Street Playground a couple times a week. On this particular occasion, we had entered the park. We'd gone around the mound. The beagles love to go on that little bike path because they love up the up and down. We didn't encounter anybody. We didn't encounter any dogs. We didn't encounter any people, and we were on our way out of the park when I had that feeling, that feeling you get when you think you're in danger, and I turned around to see two dogs running from the back of a house on Dewey Street and aiming right toward us. No barking. There was never any barking. They were clearly planning to ambush us from behind, and within seconds they were on us. The larger one grabbed the littlest beagle by the back of its neck and was viciously shaking it back and forth, trying to break its neck or break its back. The other one had circled around behind me and was trying to, worry the other beagle from behind. I was screaming and yelling at this dog and pushing it and hitting it and trying to get it to drop this beagle because it was clearly trying to kill it in front of me. I did finally get it to drop the dog, which was then on my feet. The other dog came around to sort of help, and the other beagle was able to escape. And then I was bending down to protect the beagle with my hands, and that's when the dog started biting my hands. As I was trying to put them down to shield this beagle from being killed by this large dog that was trying to attack it. The beagle suffered extensive wounds on both ears, on its neck, and on its back because it was grabbed repeatedly and shaken as it was the other dog, Marvin, was trying to kill it. And it has suffered PTSD ever since then. It's basically terrified of everything and goes into defending its life mode when anything startles it. As for me, we don't go back to Stark Street. I haven't been able to walk down that street. We don't go to the playground. We can't even walk by Stark Street on Dewey because it's still very traumatizing. I have to say that I was never contacted and offered the opportunity to schedule a vicious dog hearing, and I don't think anyone ever contacted Paul, so otherwise we would have probably done this 2 years ago. And I guess that's it. Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question, Tom. Can you just confirm the date of the July incident that you're referring to?
I believe it was July 31st,
Of
2023.
Thank you.
Anyone else that wishes to speak?
So my name's Paul Vanderwielen. I'm the owner of the two beagles in question here. I was listening to the description of the damage to our younger or our smaller beagle, Imogen. The dog was wrung out, had peeled back skin, had multiple puncture wounds. Both of its ears had shredding and punctures. The dog was completely covered in blood and had to go to the vet multiple times to deal with the infections that came from this type of injury. And we were asked if we wanted to have the animal put down because of how extensive the injuries were. We were told by the officer that came out that this had been a dog that had multiple attacks to humans and would be put down more than likely, and we were never contacted about a hearing process like this. I just assumed that these dogs were being handled by the system and didn't pursue anything further. I'm shocked to learn what's happened since, and I think this was easily preventable based on the injuries and the hospitalization of our dog walker. This just shouldn't have happened. So we're actually terrified to go anywhere near that house on Dewey in fear that these dogs are going to come out and attack one of us, say nothing about our dogs. I just can't believe we have dogs like this running around town. Everyone knows about it, and we're not doing anything about it. So I'm just a little shocked. That's all I have to say about it.
I have a question for him.
Well, according to the procedure, we'll take questions
Okay, all right.
after everybody is. You're good. Sir?
Ms. Cressy, do you have something to add?
No.
Oh,
In the officer's report, it doesn't say anything about the conversation she had with Paul regarding the dog being euthanized. And I had been in contact with Deborah and advised her that she could request a vicious dog hearing, so
thank you.
that was noted.
Good evening. My name is Robert Ward. I'm here with my wife, Sarah Beth, and we were the family that in May of 2023 were at the Stark Street Playground. I'm very fortunate that I was there because my young granddaughter was riding her bike on the track, and two dogs came charging out of the yard, barking and heading right for her. I was about 5 feet away. I was able to grab my granddaughter, pick her up, and hold the bike out to stop the dogs from charging at us. It was, my granddaughter has been, she can't even walk down the street near a dog. She needs to be picked up. It was just a terrible, terrible experience. And I appreciate the officers responding and letting us know at the time that the dog would be taken care of. We thought the dog would be taken care of a long time ago, but we're surprised there were so many more incidents that happened. So I think you can read into the story how many instances this dog has been involved with. And there were two dogs there on Stark Street when this incident occurred. And if I wasn't there, there'd be a totally different story. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
My name is Noreen Stratton. Do you need me to spell that? So I have known Alethea since she was 10 or 11 years old, and Alethea is the victim here. She lived in my home. She is my daughter's best friend. And as an adult, we also lived together, and she lived in my home. So I care very deeply about her and what has happened to her and what her life is now going to be like due to this situation and this incident with this dog. Her life will never be the same, ever. She was taken to, I received pictures, and I'm not sure from her fiance the day of the bite, and I'm not sure if you've all seen them, but you definitely should if you haven't. And then I went to the hospital where she ended up spending several days, had 2 surgeries, 2 there, and then was sent home to basically recover. And it was the Wednesday following when she was sent home, she started to notice that there was like a drainage coming from the back of her wound dressing, and was taken back to SVMC, where I believe they did 1 more surgery there, and then determined that this bite and the infection was so severe that they could not handle it here, and she was sent to Dartmouth. And she spent several days at Dartmouth and had 2 more surgeries there, and was just sent home, and now will be having, I was there today when home health came in, because they will need to be coming in regularly to change. She has a wound vac that's sucking out all of the infection that's in her leg. They've talked about in the future her needing skin grafts and physical therapy and all manner of medical things. She's a server, that's her livelihood, and she works at the Equinox restaurant. In my opinion, it will be months and months before Alethea is able to get back on her feet. And I was there today, as I mentioned, when home health came in. And because of the infection was so bad in her leg when she was taken to Dartmouth, if you saw the initial pictures, there was a large piece of skin that separated. That entire piece of skin had to be removed, and now she has a gaping hole in the back of her calf that is 2 centimeters deep, and I believe the home health nurse told me 9.5 centimeters long and 5.5 this way. And she'll be having repeated trips to Dartmouth. I'm taking her back there on Monday, and this is going to be an ongoing thing for her. Her life will never be the same. Yes, will she recover and maybe get back on her feet in one day, but this is a road that she shouldn't be walking down. This was preventable. She came to my home last year and told me that this dog went after her and her dog, and she was able to get in her car and drive to my home last summer. And she was physically shaken by that incident. And I advised her that she needed to speak with the dog's owner, could potentially call the police, I don't know, but also the landlord. Like, where she was living with this dog, she was not safe, but I think things were just kind of blown over, and maybe she thought it would get better, but then on this particular day when she's just walking out to her car to go to work, the dog attacks her for no reason. And I'm pretty sure, I agree, this never should have happened. This was preventable, but for that very reason, a 35-year-old woman will now, she's been sitting in her apartment, not able to really hardly get out, walk, anything, and her life will be completely changed because of this incident. I'd like to show you, if possible, the pictures of the wound today that I took when I was there with home health. I have them on my phone. The home health woman also took pictures because, of course, she'll be documenting progress. She's a wound care specialist. But if possible, I would like to show you those today so that you can see now what the wound looks like.
Yeah, please, you can bring those up.
I just want to see how, yeah, that's only this one. I took 3 today. Okay. Okay, yeah. I think they have the initial bite.
Yeah, we do.
Initial bite. This is today. This is the initial bite, and this is today. Finish out this wound is going to take months. Months. They cut this entire flap of skin out because of the bacteria, and she has this wound vac that she has to have on her. Until we go back Monday, we'll find out how things go from there, but we don't know how long this will be. This is today. This is today. This was the day she was bit. They removed this entire area because of the infection. That shouldn't have happened. I'm sorry, it should not have happened to her.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in support of the complaint? Okay, I see. Any questions from the board for any of the witnesses we've heard from?
Yeah.
Jackie?
Thank you. Officer Krasik, you mentioned that you had brought this dog to the animal control facility. Is that the right name for it?
Yes.
Is this the first time a dog has been held in the facility? I know it's sort of a...
No.
Have there ever been any dogs that have managed to escape from the facility before?
I've had dogs that have broken like the inside of the fencing, but it was the way that it was put in, so it got fixed. But no, this is the first time a dog's like escaped from the outside and inside of the building.
Okay.
Jim? Oh,
I'm sorry, I have a couple questions. The report that I read mentioned that the owner of the pet had indicated that they intended to have the pet neutered. Is that right?
Correct. On, I believe it was the bite at on July 31st, she did advise that she was working on getting the dog glasses as well as making an appointment to have him neutered.
What was the date of that again?
July 31st of 2023. She
Of
advised she was
2023.
making an appointment to get the dog neutered.
Okay. And then you mentioned in July of 2025, the owner indicated that this was the first bite from the pet?
That's what the officer told me, that she was advised by Ms. Rounds.
Okay. You mentioned that there was another dog in the same house. Is that dog also unlicensed?
I'm not sure. That dog is, I believe, with her ex-husband, and I'm not sure where that dog is now.
Okay. Did you ever assess the temperament of that pet?
No.
No. Okay. And then you had mentioned sort of why there wasn't a vicious dog hearing after the second bite. But can you just go over that again? That you had verbally offered that, or?
Yes, so the July 31st, 2023 bite, I had advised the bite victim that she could apply for a vicious dog hearing. I did not apply for one, no.
Okay.
And it was the first bite that happened in May wasn't really confirmed, so I couldn't confirm whether or not Marvin or the other female dog that lived there had been, because the bite, the pictures that I received did not appear to be of a dog bite. It appeared to be of a scratch, which could have occurred anywhere. So I did not consider that to be a dog bite. And then on the July 31st one, I did advise that they could apply for a vicious dog hearing if they felt they wanted one, but there was never one.
Okay. And was that just a verbally, or is there like a sort of standard like letter or something that gets sent out?
To request for a vicious dog hearing?
To let a bite victim know that that's an option for them.
I spoke to her on the phone and advised her of that. But it is also in the Town of Bennington Care and Control of Animals Ordinance.
Okay, understood. All right, thank you, Officer Krasek.
okay, Jim, then Clark.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up and confirm the first incidents, multiple incidents in the Dewey Street, Stark Street area, did you confirmed that each of the vicious actions by a dog was in fact Marvin? Like, had that been, the dog's identity been confirmed in each of those cases?
It was both Marvin and Piper.
But it was definitely you knew that those are those two dogs?
Each report, both dogs were the ones running loose, yes.
Okay. And the dog that did the biting in the second incident was definitely Marvin?
On the bite report, it lists both dogs.
Okay. Thank you.
Clerk?
Great. Thanks for your time. I have a couple of questions. The complaint in 2023 where the dogs basically sound like they were threatening, they didn't actually attack that child. But in the context of previous involvement with this animal, did that raise some level of concern that action should have been taken sooner than later with these animals?
I had spoken to her about options that she could do to keep her dogs contained, as, you know, like muzzle, fence and yard, leads, things to prevent this from happening further.
But from what I'm hearing, those weren't acted upon. Do we have some sort of mechanism to monitor what's going on? You have, sounds like, you know, in my personal opinion, very threatening, vicious animals on the streets of our town that are terrorizing people. I am hard-pressed to understand why this progressed to where we're at now with people being seriously, if not life-threatening, limb-threatening injuries. And it seems to me that this animal is terrorizing the neighborhood. I don't understand why you have to wait for it to grievously injure somebody before we move. And if it's a ordinance issue, we on the select board need to act to strengthen that ordinance. But I'm concerned that on multiple occasions your officers were advised of vicious animals or hostile animals roaming the streets, and I don't see any concrete action on the part of the town to address this until we're where we're at now. People's animals almost being killed, other people having their limbs threatened with these attacks. I'm hard-pressed to sort out how that evolved. Well, I guess the bottom line is there something we on the select board can do to make sure this doesn't ever happen again, that vicious animals are just pretty much told, don't do that again, and allowed to continue? That's what my concern is. I think a kind of a, not to attack you, but almost like a laissez-faire event. You know, you had a vicious animal roaming the street, threatening people, terrorizing them, and nothing happened. Nothing. And you know, if that's something that we on the select board need to address, please let us know, and I promise you, I'll do my best to address it.
I think at the time the ordinance was written differently. There was not the levels of aggressive dogs as the ordinance states now. And I did do what I could following the ordinance and suggested that the muzzle be used when the dogs are outside. So I mean, I did my best by following the town ordinance at the time of the ordinance.
Well, that's all I wanted to hear. If you're telling me now that subsequent to that event, our ordinance has been strengthened to give you and your agency greater authority to address hostile or vicious animals roaming the streets to move forward. So in fact, if that were to have happened now, where would we have gone with this animal terrorizing families on the streets without actually attacking them? Where would we go?
So, Mr. Chair, point of order, this hearing is to determine whether that dog was vicious, not the actions of the officers on previous incidents. I'm not minimizing that, but that's something we could have at a future meeting to discuss, and we really should focus on.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, is there a question specific to
my question is, how do we end up here? And what was going on that allowed us to end up here? And I'm now hearing that, in fact, the circumstances of the ordinance basically resulted in continuation of this dog's behaviors, which got us here.
Okay.
And I'm also hearing that that is no longer the case. So I guess my question is, what will we do? And now I understand we have a tougher, more assertive ordinance on the books.
Yeah, that is something we can discuss at a later point, but right now, yeah. Do you have any questions for the witness specific to the testimony at this point?
Nancy, were you?
Nancy was next. Yep.
So the vet bills for the Beagle, sorry. The vet bills for the Beagle, did you pay everything?
I sure did. And I've angry, I get where I want to take civil action, but I thought the whole thing was kind of put to bed at this point. That was the one thing that the police officer did discuss with me, was taking civil action against the owners of the dog, since the town wasn't going to take action beyond whatever animal control decided was best. That's what the officer told me at the time, but because there was multiple incidents, she's never heard of it, not resulting in a dog being euthanized. That's what the police officer told me. I don't know who this person is. She's never reached out to contact me. We were almost $2,000 on the bill on a $6,000 dog. And I'm pretty upset about it.
And when the dog charged yourself and the child, did you report that?
Absolutely. We called the police and they responded right away.
We need you folks to be speaking into a microphone. I'm sorry, the folks on CAT TV won't be able to pick up that part of the testimony.
Thank you, Ed.
No, I'm sorry.
You need to be at a microphone, sir.
Yeah.
What do you need me to say? That bill's $2,000 neighborhood. Yes, I did pay them all. Yes, I was told I could take civil action against the owners of the perpetrating dogs. I was told that once they'd already attacked a human once before, and this was the second incident, that the dog would more than likely be euthanized. And I left it at that because I thought that was enough. I'm feeling terrible that I didn't take action now because it could have been preventable. But now I'm feeling like I should take civil action against them because they're not doing anything to prevent what was happening. So we have, this isn't going to end here.
Thank you. Sir?
And
To answer your second question, this gentleman.
Your question in regards to the police, they responded immediately. They were there very quickly, and I did get a follow-up from the animal control officer saying that, the town ordinance requires them to do certain steps, and it's something that couldn't happen right away. They had to follow certain steps and let the owner of the dog know whatever the procedures were, valid at that time. But I thank you for the police responding quickly.
I have just one question.
Last question.
Nancy has one more, I think.
Okay.
for the person right now who is dealing with the bite and everything that isn't covered by insurance, can I ask Dan, is she getting any help, or?
Wouldn't have any knowledge about that, Nancy.
Oh, I didn't know if I could ask the question.
You want to know if the victim has insurance?
The microphone,
No,
please.
what isn't covered under insurance? Is she getting any assistance with that?
Well, we do not know at this point in time what the medical bills will look like. One can only imagine a stay at SVMC, emergency room visit, a stay at Dartmouth, multiple surgeries, home help, physical therapy. So we, of course, it's just been, I want to say 10 days. I'm sorry, I don't know, can't figure it out in my head right now. So I don't think we've seen any bills yet, but certainly they will be coming. And what insurance covers and what they don't cover, we don't know yet.
Okay.
But there is the piece that she's also unable to work. She worked 2 jobs, and now she's unable to work. So how will she continue to live? There's that piece that one needs to consider as well.
Thank you.
Ed, did you have something?
Yeah, I think my question is for Officer Krasik. Are we hearing testimony on 2 dogs that are in question here, Marvin and Piper? Both dogs we're hearing testimony regarding behavior from both dogs?
Back in 2022 and 2023, it was 2 dogs that were involved. It was Marvin and the sibling that was residing there, but that dog is no longer living.
So those
with
2
his
dogs are
wife.
separated
They're
now as far as we know, and today's hearing is, any action that this board takes will be regarding one of them, not both of them.
Correct, the
Thank
male
you.
dog, Marvin.
Thank you.
Officer Krasik, at a couple points, the reports refer to these dogs as pit bulls, and you indicated it was...
It's a cane Corso Terrier mix.
Okay, but you're confident that these are the same
Yes.
dogs? And you said when you went to pick the dog up, it had been muzzled at that point?
Yes, he had a soft shell muzzle on.
Do you think that's a sufficient muzzle for this dog, or a dog this size?
He would need probably a different type of muzzle, not
Like
a soft shell.
cage muzzle or
Yeah.
something like that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Officer Krosik, thank you.
Thank you.
Is Marvin's owner present? It's your turn to present any evidence you wish.
My name is Alan Watson, Sr., and I'm here to speak on behalf of Tiffany because she's so nervous and distraught that she doesn't feel she can competently talk to you folks tonight. If you have any questions directly to her, then we'll deal with that. I'm going to go through the scenarios for you on our behalf.
If I can just interrupt, Mr. Watson, is this Ms. Rounds with you?
What?
Yes.
This is Ms. Rounds with you.
Ms.
Thank
Rounds
you.
sitting next to me.
Thank you.
I have known Tiff for a couple of years, Tiffany, for a couple of years. She lives off of Water Street in North Bennington, and she's trying to get ahead in the world. She's had some tough sledding, and she's trying to get ahead. At the time of the incidents up on Stark Street, the first incident, she and her husband Ryan lived on Dewey Street. When the first incident happened with the Beagle, she was not living on Stark Street at that time. She was staying with friends, and they were in the process of a divorce. So she didn't get Marvin until about a year ago from that situation when she moved to North Bennington. So although she is a responsible party to it, she wasn't there, so she couldn't control Marvin or be there to muzzle him when he went outside. At her home in North Bennington, she had a 10 by 10 enclosed fence cage, and she had a steel leader leash that reached to her back door. So any time that Marvin went out of the house, he went out on a leash and or directly to the wire enclosure. So he was secured. The night of the incident, the morning of the incident, the day of the incident, he was on his leash and she had just let him out when all of a sudden, right outside her door, the incident occurred. And I believe that the victim was coming out through and either had her dog with her or her dog was trying to get out around her. And I suspect that may have been some prelude to the incident occurring. Not taking anything away from what happened. I'm just saying that I think there's other circumstances to the incident that haven't been talked about. I've been over to Tiffany's apartment on several occasions. I've walked up to Marvin. He'd jump up, bark at me, jump up on my lap and lick my face. Never any aggressive behavior at all to me. Got photographs of when they were there. About 2 months ago, roughly, Tiff was home at her apartment that night, and one of her friends stayed over. And about midnight, the young lady took Tiffany's car and Marvin for a joyride. The young lady had a car accident somewhere, we don't know exactly where, but Marvin flew off the seat and bounced off the windshield and shattered the windshield. I suspect he got a concussion. Don't know. Speculation that his head put a hole in the windshield that big around. About a month later from that, in early July, late June, early July, Marvin was given a dog treat that apparently was tainted with listeria. And over the next 2 months, or next month, he has gone through some major medical issues. He's been on major antibiotics, $1,000 worth of vet bills, and has just lost 15 pounds of weight. And then this incident occurred, just as he was starting to recover from that incident. The dog company, I'm not going to mention their names for obvious legal reasons, but the dog company that made the biscuits have agreed to pay all of his vet bills of well over $1,000 for getting him back to actually living. There was continuous conversation about him being put down then for the major infection he got internally from the listeria, and he was on major antibiotics. He was on 2 medications, one of which the symptoms are aggression as a symptom, while aggression is listed as a possible behavioral side effect. Some veterinarians' resources request that the medication actually decrease pain and in turn reduce inflammation. So I have pictures of those medications here if you want to see what they were or not. Since the incident, obviously, when Marvin got loose down at the enclosure on Willow Road, when Tiffany and my son, Alan Jr., went looking for him, they found him, and he had, at that point, been down through Willowbrook and Applegate and over onto Harwood Hill Road where he had been observed, and then back towards the town garage. He was trying to get home. And when they pulled in the driveway, the dog ran across the parking lot and jumped through the driver's side window into the car to be with them. He's been away from them for 14 plus days now. He is not neutered, but I have an appointment from a veterinarian here to get him neutered. He should have been neutered previously, but there was no help available and TIF couldn't afford to pay for the neutering of the dog. I agree that that will help reduce his aggression for sure. I agree that a muzzle should be on him all times when he's outside, even though he's friendly to the people he knows and stuff. There are people that he doesn't know, and there are people that will make any dog be aggressive. I have dogs that are couch potatoes, and they'll still growl at somebody at times. It's not unusual for a dog to be aggressive and protect somebody. She's a single mom with 2 sons, and that's her protection. She wanted to do something else for protection, but her landlord wouldn't let her. So he is licensed in the town of Shasbury. I have his license right here if you want to see it, but he's licensed in the town of Shasbury. He's not going to go back to North Bennington. He's going to go and he's going to live in Shasbury. I have a picture of his kennel that was moved today to Shasbury. And I think that, Piper, who's the other dog, is still living up on Dewey Street. No.
She moved.
She's moved now too.
My ex-husband got rid of her,
So
he didn't have the time for her, but
the situation here is, I think that there's no doubt that Marvin has got some behavioral issues. I think the neutering will help. I think that the incidents of him bouncing off a windshield and having the listeria, et cetera, I think are mitigating services to his recent aggressions. We don't know which dog it was that caused the issue up on Stark Street. It was both dogs were there. Which one grabbed that dog? We don't know, you don't know, and the law enforcement officer doesn't know for sure. She said she wasn't sure, she was assuming. I think that under those circumstances, the dog is her son, Jack's pet. And I think it would be a terrible shame, even though he has had this aggressive intake, he's not going to be in Bennington, and he's going to be muzzled at all times when he's outside. I think that's cause enough to say that, you know, this is the first confirmed incident that it was Marvin, not the third.
Ms. Rounds,
Yes, sir.
do you agree with everything that he just said?
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to add to that?
Just that Marv has made a complete turnaround since my divorce. There was a lot of fighting going on and whatnot, and the dogs were defending each other, and they would collide with each other. So, but since I moved out, he's made such a difference. And then this happened. He was raised in Texas, where he was abused prior to us getting him and his sister. I don't know what actually happened with her, but other than that, I don't want my dog's life to be taken for my negligence and not being right there to be with him.
Okay, thank you.
I have questions whenever you're going to open
Yeah,
it.
we'll see. Are there any more witnesses for the, for Ms. Rounds?
Can we ask questions?
We'll get to that part. Yep. Ed?
So I have a couple of questions. The accident that happened as a result of what you called a joyride, is there a record of that?
No.
So we have
I
a
just
smashed
have
windshield,
pictures.
but no record?
I have pictures of my car.
Okay.
I didn't turn my.
It was a smashed windshield, smashed front fender, smashed bumper.
But no record?
It wasn't reported because we didn't want to get the young lady in trouble.
Okay. This is, I think, a question for the animal control officer or maybe the town manager, assistant town manager. This dog is licensed in Shaftesbury, but this incident happened in our jurisdiction? Is that correct?
It is not. I confirmed that the dog is not licensed in Bennington.
And you can confirm that the incident happened in Bennington, which is why we're here tonight?
Yes.
North Bennington.
The town of
North,
Bennington.
right, town of Bennington, okay. I'm just going to make a comment, Ms. Rounds. Inability to pay for your dog and its care is not an excuse to have allowed this dog to cause this kind of damage in this community. So we read in the report that there were agreements to neuter, there were agreements to train, and there were agreements to muzzle on more than one occasion. And we're hearing tonight that there is a vet appointment. Yet the report was that there was a vet appointment some time ago. I want it on the record that I am absolutely opposed to a dog owner who cannot afford to care for their dog. The last comment I'll make is that I also have a Texas Rescue who is a love to the people who he knows, and he will never be out of my care because he cannot be trusted.
Jim?
Yeah, I have a question. It's a question, I think, to probably Mr. Muggs. This dog is licensed in Shaftesbury and is purportedly to be relocated to Shaftesbury. Does that affect our jurisdictional oversight of this matter at all?
My understanding is the dog is, according to animal control officer, is still in our custody. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So the dog is in Bennington.
So this board, because the incident occurred in Bennington and the dog is in Bennington and Bennington's control, then we still have jurisdiction over this
Yes.
matter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nancy?
The two dogs that we've been hearing about on Stark Street, would that have been Marvin and the other dog?
Piper.
There isn't a question it was anybody else. Everybody knows these were the same two dogs that were together?
I was not home, but those two, yes, resided together on Dewey Street.
Okay.
But whether they were the dogs or not,
I wasn't even there.
We don't know.
And had I known or was able to reach out to these people, I didn't have any idea of their names or anything. So,
And to the Beagle owners, did you know where the dogs lived?
The officer that responded to the 911 call said she knew the owner personally and that this happened multiple times, and she was going to confirm with her that the dogs did not have a rabies situation that we had to worry about with Imogen. She reached out immediately and called us immediately and said, yep, the dogs are up to date on their rabies shot. So she was able to make contact with her immediately, and the owner confirmed that the dogs were loose, and she wanted to know what she could do in this situation. So she seemed highly aware of what was going on.
Tom, there's somebody else in the audience.
Yeah, I'm sorry. At this point, we've
But that's the Beagle owner.
yeah, we've already examined the previous witnesses, but there will be an opportunity for cross-examinations. Clark?
Hi, Ms. Rollins. My question is, it looks like we're looking at a series of behaviors over the last 3 years. And I heard recently there was an event of potential trauma and medical issues. And I also heard that there was a previous commitment to address the concerns of this dog's behavior. And I'm also hearing the dog's going to Shaftesbury. My question is, based on history, why should we accept the idea of sending a problem like this to Shaftesbury? I'd be very unhappy if I heard Shaftesbury was sending a dog that had been viciously attacking its residents to Bennington.
Because the dog's going to be muzzled and neutered.
Excuse me,
And I'm
sir.
going to confirm that.
Excuse me, sir, I think we've already got that in writing, that was a commitment made more than 2 years ago. And since then, we've had 2 more significant events. Again, my question
You want
remains.
to see the appointment schedule right here?
sir, when the incident supposedly happened with the Beagle and I wasn't there, my ex-husband and I were in the process of getting divorced. So it was unexpected to me. It was a situation that happened that he was unfaithful and changes had to happen quickly. So I moved out and brought my kids to North Bennington, and since then we separated the dogs and he doesn't have her anymore. So it was just like, and then you're right, yes, this happened, but
Again, everything that I read here and what I've heard has been a series of events and promises and commitments that didn't seem to happen, that seem to have accelerated what's going on. So my question is, how can we be assured, or why should we be assured that what we're hearing today will be carried out any more expeditiously than what promises were made in the past? I'm hard-pressed to accept that.
Jackie?
Hi. Could you, I don't know if you mentioned this already, but you mentioned that there was some potential head trauma to Marvin in this auto accident. Do you know about what date? When did that happen?
oh goodness.
You have it on your phone? I would say it's probably,
The end of July?
no, we're the end of July. The end of May
Of this year?
of this year.
Okay. And then you said there was also a dog treat that had listeria.
Yes.
When was that?
What?
When was that?
I was going to say, the vet bill was in early June.
It was this year?
Yes,
this year.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ms. Rounds, the The Beagle incident, it sounds like you were aware of that incident at the time, right?
I got notified after it happened.
Okay, shortly after it happened?
Yes. I was on vacation, headed home, and got a phone call. His sister learned how to turn the doorknob and open up the door, and they both went out.
So, okay, I'm trying to understand the timeline, but it sounds like
So-
concerns about Marvin's behavior predate the potential head trauma in the vehicle or the dog treat that may have had listeria.
Yes.
Okay.
The first medical bill was June 6th.
Okay.
That was the first day he was, and that was probably 2 days after the ingestion of the listeria tainted dog treat.
All right, thank you.
And the dog lost a solid 15 pounds. I mean, he went from being a husky to skin and bones. Went into partial renal failure, and it took probably a month for him to get back to where he was actually eating and stuff on his own. So I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying the dog's had a lot of issues over a lot of incidents that weren't his fault over the last 6 months.
Understood. It's important to have a full picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, at this point, I'm sorry?
Oh, you can sit over here.
Yep, come on up.
So Tom, because of the mobility issues, they've asked that we bring the mic to them, so.
Okay.
I know it's a little out of order, but it certainly makes sense.
You sure you can do that?
No, you don't have to. No, just bring the mic and we'll.
And did you swear the oath when?
They came in late.
Okay. Okay, I do have to ask you to please raise your right hand. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the Select Board at the Select Board's vicious pet hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Please say I do.
I do.
Okay. Please.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry, I'm not a good public speaker. I can't. Just.
Take all the time you need to center yourself, not in a rush.
Okay. I've been living at 7 Water Street since 2021. When Tiffany moved in, she did not have her dog, but I knew that she had dogs. Shortly after, her dog did end up coming to live there. Not once were we introduced. Our dogs weren't introduced. So it's always been like I'm here and she's there. There were multiple incidents where coming into my house and leaving my house, the dog, her dog, Marvin, thrashes itself against so at the top of my stairs leaving my house, there's a door that we share that leads into her kitchen. So every time I would leave or enter my stairs to go into my apartment, her dog barks, thrashes itself against the door. There have been times where I've literally thought the dog would bust through that door and just, that's the end. There was an incident last April where I was walking my dog, and I was coming down my driveway to go back to my house, and I noticed her dog was on the lead, but I hesitated a little bit and stopped walking. And it was then that her dog broke the lead, charged at me and my dog, but I was able to get myself and my dog into my car, and I drove to Noreen's house. I did contact my landlord. He's well aware of everything. And then I told Tiffany. Tiffany wasn't home. She was in Florida. She had someone caring for the dog, but left the dog unattended. Sorry, guys, this is horrible. There was another incident where me and Lucian were coming home, and Marvin saw us and busted the screen out of the window as if it was going to jump out and, again, attack. The dog is aggressive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This incident, I was literally walking to my car to go to work. My dog was not with me, so I don't know where that came from. Snapped his leash and literally just took a freaking chunk out of my leg. Like, I think rehoming this dog to Shasberry is the worst idea ever. Something's got to be done about this dog. And rehoming it, muzzling it, fencing it in is not the answer. Like, it needs, absolutely. So it can happen to someone else? No. Are you kidding?
No, please, no back and forth. And if there is any, I will ask you to leave the room. Sir? You're fine. Please continue.
Listen, 100% putting this dog down. This dog is a menace.
Okay.
Terrorizing. And if...
I'm sorry. If you're going to speak, you need to take the oath as well.
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. At this point, you do have the right to cross-examine the complainant and the complainant's witnesses. If you wish to do so, you'll direct your questions to me, and if I deem them appropriate, we will ask the people involved. Do you have any questions for the complainant or the complainant's witnesses at this time?
I would like to confirm with Officer Krosick and the woman that they can identify that it was definitely 100% Marvin and not Piper that did the biting of the beagle. Because that's a big one. And I think that we have to know whether it was Marvin or whether it was Piper. Because Piper's not around anymore. She's been rehomed out of the area. And, you know, if it wasn't Marvin, then why are we sentencing Marvin to death for something that he may not have done?
Officer Krosick? Did you hear the question?
Bits and pieces of the question.
He wants to know if you were able to say 100% that it was Marvin that bit the beagle.
I'm just going to refer back to my report and see if I... I can't confirm whether it was Marvin or Piper. It says two dogs. So they were both out. They were both running. I have to take it as they both did the biting, and that's how I handled the situation.
Okay.
Tom, we do have the person who was actually there.
Yeah. Could you say for sure it was Marvin that... In other words, was it the male dog or the female dog?
There were two dogs. One was larger and very dark, and there was a smaller one. The darker, larger dog was the one that bit me. We keep overlooking the fact that I was bitten, as well as the one that attacked the beagle. The smaller one was behind me and didn't bite anybody, didn't do any biting.
That was Piper. She's stockier, bigger, and darker.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any?
Tom, there's questions down here whenever you're ready.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for the complainant?
Not yet.
Ed?
So I have a question for Ms. Rounds. I think we heard tonight in testimony that there were 2 incidents of you being on vacation where there was an incident related to your dogs. One was in the Stark Street Park and one was at your own apartment in North Bennington. Am I understanding the testimony correctly?
Yes, sir. Well, I wasn't on vacation, but for this one, I had just gotten up to go to work.
Okay, I got the sense that you were not home and out of town. And I just want to point out that,
AJ was there with him. He wasn't unattended.
okay, not in your care.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, does, Clark?
Hi. I'd like to clarify something with the different witnesses. These 2 animals, Piper, can someone describe Piper's size and color versus Marvin's size and color? Is it?
Piper's tall.
Here,
You'll
I
need to be
you
sworn and you'll
Yeah.
need to take a microphone.
He did.
Okay, you'll need to speak at a microphone. Thank you.
Piper is tall and black, and Marv is kind of short and gray.
Okay, thank you. Now, could someone tell me which animal has been identified as attacking the victim? Do we have someone here to say which animal it was? Can you describe that animal, which one it was?
Me?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Marvin attacked me.
Marvin attacked you.
Yeah, Marvin is the only dog that she has in her care right now.
Oh, yes. So the dog that attacked the beagles, ma'am, you said was a stocky, dark dog, which I understand is now Piper. Is that what they're describing as Piper?
Yes, sir.
The dog that, do you need the?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Both dogs attacked.
I need the microphone, ma'am, please.
The reason for that is it is being recorded, and
Okay,
how it
both
goes.
dogs attacked me. I was menaced and attacked by both dogs.
Okay.
The dog that seemed to be in the lead seemed to be the bigger dog. But both dogs were surrounding me, attacking me, grabbing at the beagles, so that they were, the larger one seemed to be in front, the smaller one is in back. The smaller one was trying to bite the beagle through my legs. The larger one was in front. I got bitten several times.
Bitten by the larger or smaller dog, or you're not certain, ma'am?
The larger dog was in front, and I was using my hands to shield the beagle. But then again, the other dog was sticking its nose through from behind, so.
So you can't say for definite which dog bit you?
My sense would be it would be the dog in front, but I can't say that it was absolutely. They were both attacking me.
Okay.
Because I had them surrounding me, running around me, barking, yipping, snapping, growling, grabbing at the beagle.
Okay.
There was an outside witness.
Okay. All right, again, if somebody can clarify, because my mind is confused now, which dog is doing biting. I'm hearing it's Marvin and Piper and...
The officer that came from the 911 call went and saw the dog. One of the dogs would have blood all over it. She's the one that confirmed. It wasn't the animal control officer, it was the police officer that attended that went and saw the dogs and confirmed that they were re-locked up. So one of those dogs was covered in blood. That's the dog.
Yeah, do we have any sort of documentation from the officer that which dog was covered with blood? I don't remember seeing that. Maybe I overlooked it in a report.
It looks like Officer Krozik might be looking for that.
Thank you.
Just in the officer's report, she was the one that took the initial report, it doesn't specify which dog, it says both dogs bit, so
Both dogs had blood on them? Or
it
both
doesn't
dogs
say
were
in the
attacked?
report anywhere that there was blood on any of the dogs, doesn't say anything like that. All it says is that, I mean, I can read the officer's report fully.
No, my interest is which one had the blood on it. If I'm being told the bloody dog was the one that
It doesn't say, just says that there were,
Right.
Would it be safe to assume that the only thing we can conclude from that incident is that both dogs belonged to Ms. Rounds and they were not in her care at the time?
correct, both dogs belonged to Miss Rounds. Both dogs attacked or ran towards lady. I took it as both dogs did the biting, so that's why both dogs had a quarantine.
And both dogs were not in her care at the time?
Correct, they were running loose.
Thank you.
Does the complainant have any questions for the pet owner and witnesses?
I do have a question of when Marvin was licensed with the town of Shaftesbury, what the date was.
Today.
Okay. Can I ask why he was licensed with the town of Shaftesbury today?
Because I had spoke to the town clerk of North Bennington, and he said that if I could have him out of the county in Shaftesbury or Pownell, then things could potentially work for him. So we set him up on 15 acres of land out in the middle of nowhere with a kennel, and I got a shock collar, a new muzzle.
Okay, let's see.
Anything else?
10 by 10 by, a 10 by 10 by 6 encaged enclosure with a metal roof on it so that he can't get up out of it.
You have pictures of that?
What?
Do you have pictures of the enclosure?
We'll pass it down. Or you have multiple copies? Thank you, sir. You mentioned there's no roof on this kennel.
No.
There's metal there to be put on the roof.
Oh.
It's not installed yet. It was just moved Shaftesbury this afternoon at 2:30.
If you have the, my concern is in listening to Officer Krozik, this animal seems to wreak havoc at a confinement facility built specifically to contain vicious animals, and it's managed to escape at least twice. Am I correct? And I'm seeing this thing here, and I'm no expert on it, but that looks a heck of a lot flimsier than what the town of Bennington has invested in for an animal containment facility. And again, as I said, I'd be livid if Shaftesbury sent a vicious animal to our town, and I'm not on board with the idea of us sending one to Shaftesbury.
The dog is moving to my property, my home, and I'm going to take control of the animal for a period of time and get it some training. I've been around town. There isn't anybody in this room that doesn't know who I am.
I've never met you, sir.
Oh, yeah, you have. And I
Please.
think that Marv deserves a chance to have some serious training. He's going to be neutered next week, and I think he deserves to have a chance. I agree. I've been bit by dogs numerous times in my life. I used to sell insurance. I used to be a zoning.
Mr. Watson, if you'd address the board rather than me, it would be appropriate. Thank
I'm
you.
addressing the whole board. You spoke to me. I'm speaking back to you, sir. And I've been bitten. I sold insurance for years. I've paid dog claims when I was in the insurance business. And I think I have 2 dogs of my own, and I'm going to take Marvin under my control, and I'm going to give him some training. I trained my wife's service dog, and I think I have the ability to train Marvin to be a respectable leashed animal. He will not be out of that pen without a muzzle on for the next period of time until I feel that he is safe, and I will come back to you and tell you when he's going to get unmuzzled if he ever does. He may not. He may not be able to be trained. If he can't be trained, then I'm going to recommend that he be put down.
Question. Mr. Watson, are you a dog trainer?
Not an official dog
Thank
trainer,
you.
but I've had dogs in my possession for 70 years.
Question.
Clark?
Mr. Watson, I understand everything you're saying, but my concern continues to be that we have one of our citizens who is physically scarred, and from what I understand, a small child who is emotionally scarred. And I am very uncomfortable with the prospect of that being perpetuated. Everything you say are good intentions. I respect the heck out of them, but I'm old enough to remember my grandmother saying the road to hell is paved with what?
Good intentions.
Thank you, sir.
You're also taking a pet away from a young man right back there that's his buddy and friend. And you're doing that in the same way. You're treating him, punishing him for what the dog did, and we don't know all the circumstances to the incident that's being reported.
I'm really going to get into a back and forth, but in my realm as a representative of the community, there's a lot of hard lessons to be learned in life. And I believe that had this dog been properly cared for and supervised, we all would be at home with our families tonight. Now, I am not diminishing a child losing its pet, but I also, as a healthcare professional, as a parent, as a grandparent, I cannot accept what I have learned tonight. I'm sorry, sir, and I understand your concerns, but I have a bigger responsibility, and that is to this community, the safety of this community, and I'm not hearing anything that makes me think the town of Bennington, town of Shaftesbury, or Pownell are safe with this dog. It's broken loose from confinement multiple times. It has broken loose from leashes, guides in its own residence. The owners or the individuals charged with supervising this animal, again, from what I understand, have not lived up to the full expectations and commitments they've made, and as a result, members of the community have been hurt, and the safety of the community has been compromised. So I'm not going to get into a back and forth. I'm not going to be authoritarian, but that's my position, sir, and I've not heard anything to change that tonight.
All I'm going to say is, prove to me that it was Marvin on the prior incidents, and I'd be standing right next to you. But we can't prove that. None of us can. And you're saying that it was him, but we can't prove it. And in a court of law, it's the preponderance of the evidence, and we haven't found a preponderance of the evidence in the situation.
Respectfully, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
A level 4 vicious animal is only required to seriously injure a person once.
Thank you.
And I think we're here tonight because advice and instruction given in prior incidents wasn't taken by this dog's owner. There's nothing debating that, sir.
Nope, I'm not debating that.
Okay, I'm going to invite Officer Krosik for her rebuttal. Any final words? Okay.
I have a question that I would address to you.
I'll hear it.
My question is, and maybe it's to them as well, I understand the love that a child has with a pet. I have children, I have grandchildren, and I have pets. This is not taking something away from that young boy that's the friend and buddy of the dog. It's protecting him. And I guess my question is, if he were to have a friend over, the problem with the dog is it's unpredictable. If he were to have a friend over and that dog bit that friend in the neck, the leg, lost an arm, if that could, this board sitting here tonight, go to sleep that night knowing that they did nothing with all the evidence that was brought before them, and could the mother of the boy or the step-grandfather, whatever he would consider himself to be, sleep at night knowing that this dog, though sad as it may be, needs to be put down. It needs to be. and I'm a dog owner, and I understand how difficult this is. And so I guess my question is, how would all of you feel if we were back here in a month facing the same situation? And I just don't understand. What I guess I wanted to say was also that whether was Marvin and Piper in the 3 other incidences, it was both of them. But one person's life is changed now because of Marvin. Viciously attacked, walking out of her house to go to work in the morning. And the dog broke the leash. I want to know when the last time the dog was put in that fenced-in pen, because I was just down there not that long ago, and it looked like there was weeds growing around it. And even if the dog is on the leash, I have a video of the dog. The dog's leash is walking right in the pathway where they have to walk out every single day to go to work, not muzzled, right here, a video. Can you all sleep with yourself at night knowing that you let this happen again?
Thank you.
That's my final word.
And you can have your, please, no. You could have your final statement.
I apologize to everybody that has been hurt or their life has changed in this situation. And I can't do anything to take anything back. I just hope that I can have my dog for the future.
Okay. All right. At this point, I'm going to adjourn this hearing. Could I hear a motion to go into deliberative session, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you are all excused. I will remind you, this has been a very emotional time. Please be civil in the parking lot and on your way out of the building. And we will receive a written decision by the board in due order.
Can we hold the noise down a bit, please?
Folks, this meeting is still in order. The public session is closed. We'd like to ask you to quietly leave the room.